Hello and welcome to Dropzone Nexus. Today we're going to have a battle report of Dropzone Commander, and we're going to have UCM against PHR, 999 points. The scenario is reversal from the Battle for Earth book. What we're going to be doing here is there's going to be 3 objectives. 2 of them are the more traditional objectives. Get them, and then get them back to your intel boards and your lines. The other one's more interesting. Get hold of it, and it's actually a big bomb, and fly it into the enemy lines, where you can wreak havoc. So that's very high level, the scenario. There's a couple of other special rules, like you can make the bomb blow up, causing damage and destruction near to it, but you'll get less victory points. So it's a bit more of an interesting mission than the Targets of Opportunity. The UCM forces are split into 4 battle groups. The armoured group has got 3 katanas and 2 scimitars, the heavy laser tanks. Giving some fire support from the rear, there's a longbow as well, which can either fire smoke to give them extra cover, or just some good old-fashioned artillery shells. The next group is an infantry or front-line group. And here we have 2 bases of Praetorians, the UCM Special Forces, and we've got 3 bases of Legionnaires. The Legionnaires are actually in a bear and a condor, and there's no other squad in the condor, taking advantage of just being able to have half a transport full. The Praetorians will be flying in a Raven, so they can fast rope out to there and get that powerful hit in run. The next battle group is a Vanguard group, and this is actually an anti-air detachment. It's based around that. We've got 3 Rapiers, very powerful anti-air, flying in their condor, and we've got 4 Wolverines, flying in with Ravens. The Ravens are mounted with missile launchers, because once they drop those Wolverines off, that will be their main mission, is just giving some fire support. And then at the very end here, we have another infantry / frontline unit. This platoon has got some hazard suits and some Legionnaires, and these are both mounted in bears and a condor. The PHR are also split into 4 battle groups. The main battle group is, not surprisingly, the armoured battle group. This is based around 2 Ares, an anti-armour unit, a Phobos, anti-air, Menchit, anti-infantry, and 2 strike walkers with railguns. And what these do is they make it harder for enemy to shoot that are close. Their countermeasures give the enemy a penalty to hit. But it looks like they've been so busy tweaking those countermeasures that they've forgotten to paint their strike walkers properly. Carrying them into battle is a heavy dropship, the Poseidon. Nice big chunky one. The next battle group is the Light Recon. This Vanguard group has 2 Janus Scout Walkers in one squad and 2 Janus in another one. It allows you to spread the Scout influence around the battlefield. And that's it. Very small, very light compared to the last battle group. Then we've got 2 infantry units, or frontline as I like to call them in Dropzone. First battle group is 2 Immortals, mounted in jet skimmers with flamers. So small battle group, but hopefully those flamers will give them the edge in battle. And the last battle group is a bit heavier. We've got Junos carrying 2 squads of Immortals, And we've also got 2 Helios jet skimmers to give them some anti-air protection. And they're mounted on Neptunes to carry them in. Turn 1 was quite cautious, both sides kind of tiptoeing forward. Until the end, once the UCM anti-air was deployed, the PHR came in with their armoured group, and Poseidon went full thrust ahead, down the flank where it was safe. The idea being that in turn 2 they can actually deploy their brick of walkers and cause chaos and mayhem. The UCM bravely deployed a squad of legionnaires in the centre building, but their bravery was not rewarded. PHR infantry were able to come in, deploy the Junos on the road, use the road to drive forward fast and get into close quarter battle. They caused 9 hits, but because they were at the disadvantage, the rerolls took it down to 5. But this was enough to make the Legionnaires run out the building. So not a great start for the UCM. PHR holding that central building with possible weapon of mass destruction, and Legionnaires running out of it. The UCM commander was incensed by the losses in the centre and he seized the initiative. He ordered his Praetorians to fly in there and fast rope into the building, which they did, throwing their grenades at the Immortals, which was enough to actually break one of the squads of Immortals that ran out the building. A surprise, as these are normally very reliable troops, but they did roll a 1 in their fortitude test. The Legionnaires arrived hoping that the building would have been cleared out and rolled their 15 dice, but actually ended up doing 0 damage to the other Immortal squad. Looks like the difference in training pays off. The PHR scouts in the centre just patrolled around, and the other Janus deployed in the right flank. Nothing too exciting. The fleeing Legionnaires from the centre were picked up by a bear, and then a condor scooped them up. Their hazard suits were able to actually draw a bead in a Juno and 2 aim. All 6 shots hitting, combining into 2 energy 10s, and then they rolled a 5 and a 6. Juno down. It's always quite good to take out an APC. PHR Helios moved forward, and the fleeing Immortals rallied and hit back at the Praetorians, killing 1. The other squad hit back at the Legionnaires, killing 7. Not quite half the squad, so no fortitude test required. Then the UCM decided to deploy their armour. Scimitars went to the centre, covering the middle, but the Katanas did stay in the transports, sweeping round to the left flank towards where the PHR brick was coming. Then the Immortals landed in the left flank and unfortunately found an objective. Then the interesting bit happened. The Poseidon flew forward and the PHR brick of walkers deployed. The 2 strike walkers managed to get a shot against a bear, causing a critical, destroying it, and they actually managed to get a lucky hit in a scimitar, damaging it but not taking it out of the fight. So at the end of turn 2, there's a massive battle going on in the centre building. 4 squads in there, and there's an interesting face-off in the centre, with scimitars looking down the road at an army of PHR walkers. The turn 3 highlights really was the UCM winning initiative and trying to take out the PHR walkers as they came in. The Katanas deployed out their transport, and the weight of shots actually won out. They managed to take out a Menchut A2. And the scimitars took aim at the Reba strike walkers at the front. And they rolled a 6, so with the destroyer roll, that was an Ariba strike walker out. And the longbow fired smoke at the scimitars to give them some extra cover from the fire that was bound to come in at them. But the other highlight really was the flamers. So the jet skimmers, the Angelus jet skimmers, were able to move close enough to the central building where the Mortals and Praetorians were fighting. And a lot of shots went astray. 4 shots went astray, hitting the Mortals. But it did lock out for them. All the Praetorians were wiped out, and actually only 1 Immortal was killed. So I think overall this turn really was going to the PHR. Turn 4 was mostly a game of attrition. Quite a few units died off as chipped away at. The main interesting bit was one of the rapiers did manage to get line of sight on the transport for the WMD and take a shot. Luckily for the PHR though, the transport was only hit and damaged, but still managed to fly on. Turn 5 was almost a game changer. The rapiers opened fire on the Neptune carrying the weapon of mass destruction, and normally 6 of the shots would have hit. But there wasn't a rebus nearby, and its ECM made a mockery of their targeting, so only 2 attacks actually hit, causing 1 damage. So the Neptune was able to carry on flying. And what would have been interesting is, if it had blown up, it would have actually taken out the transport nearby with another objective, totally scuppering the PHR's chances. But luckily for them, they were okay this time round. Turn 6 was over quite quickly because it really came down to one critical action. Could the PHR get that nuke off? Unfortunately for them, the UCM won initiative, and the rapiers drove up even closer, and despite their rebus, they were able to blow up the Neptune. The nuke going off in the air, but luckily for everyone else, there was no one near enough. What this meant for the game though is both sides were able to get 1 objective off, so the game came down to kill points. And to be fair, we didn't actually total up the kill points. We just looked at the number of units and declared it as a win for the PHR. Now I've got to say, I really enjoyed this mission. And the reason for that is it gets past some of the problems with objective searching. A lot of people commented on objectives are too easy to find, you can find them turn 2, get off the table quickly, and the game's almost over. But this mission does make a big difference, because even if you find that objective, you have to break through the enemy lines with it as well. And that just makes the game a lot more interesting, that you have to make some critical decisions. Where do you break through? Do you take the risk to run through the gauntlet of anti-air? Or do you try and whittle it down a bit first? And it just gives your opponent a chance to respond. So I think there's a bit more tactics involved in this, and it makes quite a difference to the game. So for anyone that is commenting, complaining about the objective searching, I would say give this mission a try and see if this makes a difference to you. So thanks for listening, and I'm off on holiday now, so I'll have a think about what to do hobby-wise when I'm back.